Humans have been preserving food for millennia, and it started back in presumably the Mesolithic era when ancient humans would bury their grub into, into snow and ice to keep it fresh for the winter. But even in ancient Egypt, they had their own methods for preserving stuff. They used wax sealed jars. These wax sealed jars are very similar to what we use now as a mason jar, but instead you'd actually have to melt the wax to be able to stick the lid onto the jar to be able to seal it. And as it cools, then it hardens and seals the entire jar or jug. And that's how ancient people in Egypt did it. Very similar in Rome and Greece and all of those ancient civilizations. But a lot of people just associate preserving with canning, which that's really not completely accurate, because for a very, very long time, it's presumed that humans back in Rome and Greece would use the sunlight to actually dry out meat and make jerky. Literally fully dehydrating foods, pretty much, to make them last longer. I believe that it was in 1970, maybe 1980, when the original freezer came out. The freezer was such a milestone in preserving because we could actually harness the powers of nature to keep our stuff cold and preserved for an extreme amount of time. But just 1 year after the invention of the freezer was the invention of our common canning method, the mason jar. The mason jar was so revolutionary due to it having a built-in wax seal to where you didn't have to melt the wax. A lot of people were still using these wax sealed jars that you had to melt the wax to actually seal the jar with. For so long, thousands upon thousands of years, humans were using just these jars, along with nature to preserve their food, which is crazy to me, because within 1 year, humans harnessed the power of nature to preserve any food, spices, fucking meat, anything. You can preserve it using canning methods, dehydrating methods, and freezing methods. To me, it's just so astonishing that we were able to harness that energy so quickly and so efficiently that we still use those same methods today. But there have been various other methods thrown throughout history to preserve food. A lot of them involve oils and literally sealing something into a actual tin or metal canister. And that is where the term canning originally came from, but was adopted into mason jars and wax seal jars throughout time.